Hello and welcome back to on the WrestleMania another edition of Smackdown Out of 10. And WrestleMania saw a handful of title changes, but John Cena winning the world title was undisputedly the top story heading into SmackDown. The tag titles were also on the line in a big triple threat TLC match with the Street Profits, DIY and Motor City Machine Guns busting out. But we started things off with those teams coming to the arena when we got a recap of WrestleMania, and in the live arena, John Cena made his way to the ring, a chorus of boos and cheers. Some were pro Cena, but most against him. Before the 17 chant could say a word, Randy Orton's music interrupted. Orton gave Cena advice, but in the end, he told him he needs to have some kids so he could get back to really who he is. Cena said he doesn't have any kids because he spent 25 years raising everyone else's. He made a fun of kid at ringside who flicked him off to prove his point. They talked for quite some time, and Cena dug his heels in. He mocked the crowd for not being loyal, labelling him as an outcast for solely not focusing on WWE. The Viper challenged him to put his title on line at Backlash. Cena ended up tossing the title at Orton to distract him so he could attack. Orton ducked and went for another RKO. He posed the title to end the segment. Seeing these two interact is nothing new. In fact, we've seen them fight more than anyone else in WWE, but seeing them work this dynamic was interesting. Orton is a good guy, and Cena as the villain made it feel fresh, and this is a better promo than Cena's on Raw by a decent margin. First match of the night saw Angel and Bertha take on Fraxian, who were looking to rebound after dropping the NXT tag titles at Stand and Deliver. They took control right away and used their high-flying offense to maintain the upper hand, but Los Garzas turned in their favour as we went to a break. We returned as Fraser got a hot tag and started going on a rampage, and Hell hit super kick when Fraser attempted a moonsault to stop him momentum. The crowd chanted this is awesome as the two pairs of aerial artists did what they do best. This was an exciting match that showcased the abilities of all four men well. Almost everybody sort of the same thing as this executed perfectly. A combo Spanish Fire and 450 splash scored Fraxian a win on what Joe Test called their debut. So yeah, fully deserved, and I think we're looking forward to seeing more of them in the future. This is a great start. 7 out of 10 from me. After a break, Tiffany Stratton came to the ring to celebrate her win over Charlotte Flair, but Jade Cargill interrupted her pretty quick. She said that beating Charlotte only put a bigger target on Tiffany's back, and now she's done with Naomi. She wants to shot at the women's title. They ended up agreeing to have a match right away, so a ref came down, and Cargill had a slight size advantage, but not by much. Tiffany is a strong competitor and made sure to let Jade know she wasn't going to be pushed around. They have too little experience working together, but you can see a lack of chemistry. They still made most of what they did look good, but there's some bits that didn't work. Sometimes when two people are getting used to working with each other, smoothness can take a while, and Stratton almost tripped when going for a signature moonsault, but she saved it. Unfortunately for her, Cargill avoided the impact. A minute later, Naomi caused the disqualification. Nia attacked Tiffany as well. So yeah, I felt like a bit early to get this match, and obviously it proves to be the case, but I'm intrigued to see what goes in the future, and definitely has potential. 5 out of 10 though. But Jacob Fatu came out with Solo Sikoa after the break to celebrate his win over LA Knight. Sikoa said nobody in his family wanted Fatu in WWE except him. He took credit for Fatu not only being in WWE but for his win too. The champ ripped the mic away from him and said he did exactly what he said he was going to do, winning. Knight came out and gave him credit for beating him fair in the middle of the ring, but said it won't happen again. Surprisingly, Drew McIntyre came out next, and the former world champion bragged about beating Priest and complained about Orton jumping the line for a world title shot. Aldis came out and booked a Knight v McIntyre match for later on with the number one contendership on the line. An entertaining segment, went in a few directions, and yeah, intrigued to see where it goes. Before we got Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega for the women's US title. Piping everything out the fire by Green's side, as always. The secret Hervis helped Green gain the unfair advantage before a break, but Vega fought back and managed to control after a return. Niven tripped her right into the ref, and then he caught fire, about to attack her, so he ejected Pro from ringside. A couple of seconds later, Vega hit Code Red to get the pin and the win. Vega escaped the ring before Niven and Fire could get to her. She celebrated winning her first title in WWE in the aisle. This made a surprising title change, but it made it good. Everything was predictable it would be boring. It wasn't a very long match, but they worked together to make every moment count. So yeah, good stuff. 6 out of 10. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Vega can do with a belt. Before The Miz came out and complained about how nobody respects him, he said Rey Mysterio went to someone he barely knows for help instead of him, and Orton did the same thing. He's sick of seeing people get opportunities when he isn't. The lights went out and Alex Black arrived with his old NXT entrance that brought him straight from the floor. The crowd chanted welcome back as Black stuck up and took his jacket and nailed The Miz with a black mask and left without saying anything as his music began to play. Simple work rail, and yeah, I think just building Black up before he gets his first proper feud is good stuff. So yeah, great to see Black back in WWE. We then got the LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre number one contenders US title match. The bell ringer seemed to be returned from a break, and there was a significant lock-up. McIntyre had the size advantage and used it to take Knight down and brag about it. Knight took him down and bragged right for a moment later, only angering the Scottish psychopath. The great thing about Knight is he's the kind of worker who can go at any pace and make it work. He can match speed with high fives, and he can play the power game with guys like McIntyre. It allows them to work at any pace, which is a valuable skill. They worked a methodical match and made sure the big moments and sequences stood out, but there were moments when it felt like they could have used the crowd to move a bit quicker to keep the energy high. Sakota showed up and hit Knight with a Samoan spike, but the ref was distracted. McIntyre looked mad. He was about to be helped by someone as he saw an enemy, but he was unable to take advantage of the moment because Priest showed up to pull him up and out of the ring and beat him up. The Archer Infamy put him through the announce table with South Heaven chokeslam. Knight got in his face for causing a DQ out of nowhere, and Fatu came. The segment ended with Fatu standing tall. Having multiple DQ finishes on the same show is never ideal, but it's going to set up a multi-man, and we'll find out what will happen at Backlash. But I think multiple different avenues, and I'm intrigued to see where it goes. So yeah, I'll give it 6 out of 10. This week's main event was one that arguably should have been on the Mania card, but the Smackdown Raw was treated to the triple threat TLC match for the tag titles. Street Profits, DIY and MCMG renewed their encounters, and putting them all in a high risk match like this was a great way to end the show. All 6 men began fighting as soon as the bell rang, but DIY came out the initial exchange. As they tried to get a ladder, Saban and Shelley drop kicked it to get them down. The match was given a lot of time, and since there was no breaks, it felt like even longer. The bar has been high for TLC matches for a long time, but these 3 teams did an amazing job. There was no standout performer in this one because all 6 were giving everything they had. We saw some creative spots, especially when it was used with chairs. Ford's even used a fan's prosthetic leg as a weapon at one point, which gave a huge pop. It was hard to find a single thing to criticise because everything looked awesome. And yeah, Street Profits taking the victory. I think the right decision as well. This is great stuff. 8 out of 10. And overall, SmackDown this week gets 7 out of 10 for me. I thought, it was pretty decent. Outdid Raw in terms of both in-ring action and storyline developments. A handful of potential matches, and of course that brilliant main event. And I thought, the Cena Orton stuff to kick off the show was really, really strong as well. So yeah, this is great stuff. 7 out of 10. Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.